Hi guys, Lauren from Original Silence here again. I'm going to try and keep my focus on the camera this time, as last time I was looking all over the place and it looked like I was reading, but I promise you I wasn't. I was just really awkward in front of the camera. So today I am now 32 weeks pregnant. I'm going to stand up here on my son's toilet step to try and show you the bump. So there's the bump. 32 weeks pregnant, feeling good, still moving pretty well. My Surya Namaskar is pretty similar to the first video. Move that out of the way. My step through is getting a little bit more awkward, a little less spacious, so that's a little bit more clumsy, but apart from that, it's pretty much the same. So today I thought I would just do a quick 20-minute flow. And this is what I've been practicing every morning. Bubs at the moment is in a breech position, which means head is facing up instead of facing down. So we really want to try and use the next 8 weeks to get Bubs to turn over, so head down so it's ready for birth. So I am trying to create lots of space through my pelvis, lengthen through the muscles of the pelvis, and also get upside down a little bit, obviously keeping very safe, just to help try and create some space and use gravity to try and give Bubs the space to turn. So lots of hip openers, a few inversions, leg strengtheners, which are always good for birth and labour. And that is my 20-minute flow for today. I hope you enjoy.
So starting in a comfortable cross-legged position, here I'm sitting up on a block just to make sure my knees are lower than my pelvis and just help with that anterior tilt through the pelvis. It's giving some space for baby. Loosening up the muscles in my jaw, they say tight jaw, tight hips. So just getting your fingers into the muscles of the jaw and just giving them a gentle massage, making sure everything's nice and loose. Moving on to some hip circles now. Just trying to rock the baby gently, encourage Bubs to move around, back the other way. Of course, using your breath at all times, inhaling to open and exhaling to contract through the abdominals. Next, some shoulder rolls, starting to release any tension through the shoulders and the neck. Coming back the other way. And next, the neck. Just trying to release all through the upper body, making sure we're nice and open and not holding any tightness or tension through our upper body, which often gets forgotten about in prenatal yoga. It's just trying to make sure the whole body is relaxed. And now inhaling as we reach our arms up high, exhaling and leaning over towards one side. Starting to create space through the side body now. Gaze can be up towards your top arm or down towards your lower arm. Inhale to come back up and exhale to lean towards the other side. Just being conscious of your neck placement here. Inhaling, coming back to center. Now just removing the block from beneath your pelvis and coming into a tabletop position. Here making sure our shoulders directly over our wrists and pelvis is stacked directly over our knees. We're going to exhale into our cat pose and then inhale into a very gentle cow pose, trying not to create any compression in the lumbar spine in our cow pose. Take an inhale, exhale to round out, creating length in the spine. And then inhale, tucking the toes, pushing back downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. You can pedal out through the feet if this is the first downward dog of the day, if your hamstrings are feeling a little tight. So just ensuring that we've got a flat spine here and our shoulders are externally rotated, so drawing the armpits towards one another. Feet at hip distance or wider. Inhale, your right foot comes towards the sky, and then exhale, we're going to open up our hips, bringing our right heel towards our left sit bone. Coming into a beautiful hip opener here. Coming back to neutral. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, stepping that right foot onto the outside of our right arm, lowering the left knee, untucking the toes. Inhale, coming up into a low Anjaneyasana, our low lunge here. So here we're trying to lengthen through our iliopsoas muscle and our hip flexors. And we can take this a little bit further by lowering the right hand and reaching the left hand over towards the right side. Not forgetting to breathe here. Inhale, coming back to center. Before exhaling, coming to the inside of our right foot. And just coming into a modified lizard pose here. So letting the right knee roll out to the side. Opening up through our hip joints. Inhale, tucking the toes. And exhale, stepping back to our downward facing dog. Repeating this now on our left hand side. So inhale, left heel rises towards the sky. Exhale, left heel comes towards right sit bone to a beautiful hip opener here. Inhale, back to center. Looking forward. And then exhale, stepping the left foot onto the outside of our left arm. Lowering the right knee, untucking the toes. Inhale, rising up into our low Anjaneyasana. Again, taking the variation we did on the other side to lengthen through those hip flexors. So lowering the left hand to the hip and the right arm reaches over towards the left hand side. Feel that beautiful stretch in the front side of the body. Inhale, back to center. And then exhale, hands come to the inside of your left foot. And we come into that lizard pose variation again. Beautiful hip opener. Again, here trying to create space in the pelvis for bubs. Inhale, tucking the back toes. And then exhale, stepping back to our downward facing dog. From here, inhale, looking forward. And then we're going to step our left leg to the outside of our left arm. And inhale, rise up into our Anjaneyasana, our high lunge. Clasping the hands behind the back. Inhale, shine the chest forward. Exhale, right knee comes towards the mat. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Starting to build strength now in our leg muscles, which are very important for labor and birth. Inhale, rise the hands up. And then exhale, we're going to come into our goddess pose, our Utthita Konasana. So making sure our feet are at a 45-degree angle. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, bringing your hands to the chest. Inhale, coming out wide. Exhale, floating out to the left-hand side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, towards the right-hand side. Inhale, back to center. Stay for the exhale. For rising up on the inhale, straightening through the legs. Exhale, coming down into the goddess again. Just doing that one more time. So inhale, hands come wide. Exhale, over to the left hand side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right hand side. Inhale, back to center, staying for the exhale before inhaling, rising up. And exhale, turning to our right hand side. Taking that same lunging variation, so interlacing the hands behind the back. Inhaling, shining the chest forward. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale. Inhaling, rising back up into our high lunge. Before coming back to center, and we're going to come into a forward fold. So legs wide, feet are parallel to the top and bottom of your mat, grabbing the block and just coming down to halfway, resting your hands directly underneath your shoulders onto the block. So here concentrating on placing our weight more in the balls of our feet to really give Bubs a chance to hang in that hammock that we've created through the stomach. So here inhaling to lengthen through the spine and exhaling, bringing your right hand towards the sky, coming into a gentle twist here. Staying for a breath before replacing your hands and switching over so your left arm draws towards the sky. So inhale to lengthen and exhale to twist. Inhale, coming back to center. Staying here for a moment to rebalance the blood pressure, maybe coming up a little higher, making sure that your head is above your heart. And then slowly rising back up to standing. Coming back into our Anjaneyasana before placing our hands on the inside of our left foot and stepping back, coming to our downward facing dog. And from here we're going to come into our pigeon pose. So inhale, rising that right foot high, looking forward, and then exhale, just placing the right knee just behind the right wrist, lowering the back leg, the left leg to the ground, sitting up high for a gentle back bend, shining the chest forward before draping the torso over the right knee, coming into a pigeon pose, which is sort of a bit more like a sleeping swan at this stage, just making sure we've got enough space for the baby in between our legs. Staying here in this beautiful restorative pose for a few breaths, really concentrating on our breath and just drawing the attention and the focus within. When you're ready, walking your hands up underneath your shoulders, tucking the toes of the left foot, and then very gently coming back into a downward facing dog. Coming onto the other side now, so left heel rises towards the sky. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, left knee behind left wrist. Back leg, the right toes untuck. Inhale, shining that chest forward. Before exhaling, draping the torso over the left knee this time. And just letting everything release, releasing through the abdominals, bringing the focus towards the breath. Coming to this beautiful hip opener, hip rotator, and also the hip flexor and iliopsoas lengthener. Very important pose, just for creating space for Bubs and allowing Bubs to move freely inside the pelvis and the lower torso. Inhale, rising back up, shining that chest forward before very gently sliding out and coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Upavista Konasana. Oh, I've got a cramp in my legs and in my toes, so if you ever get that, just coming out, stretching out, and then just coming back into it. Flexing the toes back towards your face. Inhale to lift and lengthen through the spine before exhaling, trying to reach the crown of your head forwards. Making sure that this forward fold is coming from your hips and you're not rounding out through the spine. So just coming as low as you feel comfortable, as much space as you have with Bubs in the way. Before inhaling, coming back up to center. And preparing now for our dolphin pose. So I'd only really recommend this pose if you are an experienced yogi. This is a great pose just for turning upside down and loosening off the muscles, those lower abdominal muscles and the hip flexor muscles, and just allowing bubs to work with gravity to reach towards coming up high towards your ribs. And then when we come back to neutral, maybe it might come back to a bit of a different position. You never know. Just moving my hips side to side here, just to encourage movement there with bubs. So again, only attempt this one if you have experience doing this pose. Otherwise, you can always come to the bottom of a stair or the edge of a couch and just do a more supported version of this pose. And when you're ready, just coming back into a supported child's pose. So here this helps to, one, rebalance the blood pressure, and also just encourage that bubs to hang in that hammock of our stomach. You can also come into balasana here as well, our child's pose, making sure your knees are wide to create space for bubs in between our thighs. Inhale, we're going to rise back up, sitting into Vajrasana on our knees. We're just going to come into a gentle twist here. So inhale, left arm rises, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale to twist towards the right hand side. So the outside of our left hand comes towards the outside of our right thigh. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, coming to the other side now. So this time your right hand reaches up towards the sky, back of the right hand reaches towards the back of the left thigh. Inhale back to center. So from here we're going to grab our block and come into our last inversion of a sort of modified legs up the wall, a supported shoulder stand pose. So just shuffling your hips and your sacrum towards the wall, having your block handy, just walking your feet down the wall so they're at right angles, and then lifting the pelvis up very, 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 very carefully towards the sky. You can use your hands underneath your sacrum here for extra support, and you can also grab the block and place that just at your sacrum as well. So not on your lower back, just on the bony part of your pelvis, so the top of the sacrum. Again, please take a lot of care in doing this pose, especially if you haven't done much yoga before. Just closing down the eyes, focusing on the breath, trying to relax through the abdominals here. And again, just using gravity to help encourage bubs to move slightly. We come out the exact same way we went in. So walking your feet back down the wall. Inhale to lift the pelvis towards the sky, removing the block from underneath your sacrum. Lowering your hips down towards the mat. And then just very gently rolling out towards your left hand side, staying here for a moment before using your right arm to push yourself up, coming back into Vajrasana, our kneeling pose. And just sitting here for a moment, closing down the eyes, focusing on the breath, connecting with your baby if you feel that's what you need today. Just letting everything settle back to a comfortable position. So that's the flow that I've been practicing most mornings. just to encourage movement with bubs, encourage head down, hopefully. We'll see how we go. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. If you'd like to follow Original Silence, you can find the website and blog online at originalsilence.com.au, or you can like Original Silence on Facebook and Instagram at Original Silence Yoga.